Good afternoon, everybody. I was raised in Germany, in the city of Berlin, to be more precise. When I was 13 years old, my class and I went to a water park outside the city. My teacher had organized this day for us to grow together and simply to enjoy ourselves. On the way back, we were standing at an old train station waiting for the train to come. It was then that I looked around and I thought to myself, I will never feel at home here, because the moment that I would let my potential neighbors know that I am Jewish, they would not accept me. What I want to show in the next few minutes is a theological response to the sense of homelessness that I felt at that moment. I would like to raise a Jewish perspective on the idea of home, on a matter of being rooted in a place. I'm convinced that Judaism offers all of us, wherever we are, important insights into this topic that transcends geography. The question that I'm exploring is this: how would I, today, after almost 5 years of rabbinical school, respond to this 13-year-old boy, to my former self? To answer this question, let us begin with the Torah portion from another week, Parashat Ki Tisa. We find it in Shemot, the second book of the Torah. Moses requests of God, please show me your presence. The people had initiated the worship of the golden calf and thus made a fatal mistake. This led to a severe crisis. Moses was devastated. Moses longs for God's closeness. God answers that no human being can literally see God and live. However, God tells Moses, there's a place near me, stand there, and I will pass by you. The Hebrew word for place is makom. The great medieval rabbi Rashi, who lived in Germany and France, comments on this word makom, that it signifies the divine indwelling. The Shekhinah is located there. Rashi goes on to quote an ancient rabbinic teaching stating that God is the place of the world, but the world is not God's place. According to this teaching, the world, which is finite, exists within God, who is infinite. We can understand this teaching in two ways. One, the divine presence can be found everywhere, in every place of the world. And two, the world is literally part of God. That is, everything that exists is God, but God is always more. God offers Moses the insight that God is always near. The great scholar Ephraim Urbach explains that in ancient rabbinic literature, the word makom refers to the God who reveals himself in whatever place he wishes. This epithet thus expresses God's nearness. What a reassuring insight this must have been for Moses, to know that he can encounter the divine presence here on earth, especially at such a difficult moment in his life. It is the makom, the place, God, that can comfort us. As we say to those among us who are mourning, Hamakom yenachem etchem betoch sha'ar avnei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. Hamakom, God, shall comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. With this insight, let us turn to our Torah portion that we just read this past Shabbat, Parashat Vayetze. There's a peculiar verse in our Torah portion. In the original Hebrew, it states, Vayikatz Yaakov mishnato vayomer, Achen, yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh, ve'anochi lo yadati. I would translate this as, and Jacob woke up from his sleep and said, behold, there's God in this very place, and I did not know. What place, the rabbis ask? What is so special about this very place that Jacob finds God there? Rabbi David Zvi Hoffman, an Orthodox rabbi who lived and taught in Germany, states that there are several explanations given as to what made this place so special. After summarizing several different interpretations, Hoffman mentions an ancient midrash. It is the same ancient rabbinic teaching that we just explored. According to Rav Huna, God is the place, the makom of the world. This interpretation of the verse goes back to a wording that we find 5 verses before. There it says, Vayifga b'makom, and Jacob came upon a certain place. The rabbis read these words to indicate that through this very action, Jacob initiated the practice of evening prayer, Ma'ariv. This makes sense when you consider that God was seen as the place, the makom of the world. There are many passages in Jewish literature that go in the same direction as this midrash. Many texts teach us that there is something divine that can be found in all places in the world. Beginning with the Psalms where it says, God's is the earth and all that fills it, the globe and all its inhabitants, to the book of Isaiah where it says, the whole earth is filled with God's glory, to the ancient rabbis who taught that filled is the whole land with the splendid light of God, to the medieval mystics who hold that there is no place that is devoid of God, and the Hasidim who believe that God surrounds and fills the world. All these texts indicate that the whole world is filled with the glory, holiness, or presence of God. God can be found in every place. When we understand this, we can read our passage in a very different light. Jacob can find God wherever he goes. Just like our forefather Jacob, who received the name Israel, we too are known by this very name. Therefore, I read the biblical figure of Jacob to be a paradigm for the destiny of the Jewish people. Just as Jacob uncovered the holiness of God in every place he went, so we too can find God wherever we go. We, who are named after our forefather Jacob or Israel, have always been seen as a wandering people. While this has been a cause of anti-Jewish sentiments and hatred, this specific feature of the Jewish people allows us to pursue our very mission. In all the places we are, we can live in relationship to God. We can wake up and say, just like Jacob, behold, there's God in this very place, and now I know. How then can we find God in this place or in any place? To answer this question, let us look at one more midrash and one more modern commentary. In the Mechita de Rabbi Shmuel, another ancient rabbinic text, we find one of my favorite teachings. There it states, Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kol makom she'ata motze roshem raglei adam, sham ani lefanecha. God said to Moses, in every place where you find the footprints of a human being, there I stand before you. From this we learn that the relationship between human beings is a significant gateway into encountering God. Another insight into how to find God in the world comes from the commentary of Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch on our Torah portion. Hirsch was a 19th century German rabbi who significantly shaped the modern Orthodox movement. He sees human beings as the carriers of the divine glory here on earth. Basing his words on our Torah portion, Hirsch exclaims that when the angels go up to find God in the heavens, they shall instead find the divine presence here on earth, and every human life that is dedicated to the service of God. Here she envisions every house in which such lives are lived as a gate to heaven. I have been blessed to have grown up in Germany, a place where many houses are dedicated and rededicated to the service of God. Needless to say, Germany is a very different place than it was 90 years ago. Looking at my own life, I can wholeheartedly affirm that Germany is indeed my home, and I'm grateful that I grew up in Berlin. If I ever got to meet 13-year-old me standing in the German countryside, wondering where home is, I would tell him that wherever he goes, there is God, and thus he is at home. Just like our ancestors Jacob and Moses, we can find God everywhere and anywhere, for the whole world belongs to God. I would invite my younger self to think about how to find God in the world, and I would suggest to him that there's a deeper meaning in Jewish living around the world, whether in Germany or in the US or in any other place. They say it takes a village to raise a child. I guess in the case of a rabbi, it rather takes a whole city the size of New York. I want to thank all the people who helped me to find a home in Germany, Israel, and the US. I would like to thank Chancellor Emeritus Ismar Schorsch for helping me so kindly in the process of writing my senior sermon. Thank you also to Chancellor Sully Schwartz for your fantastic leadership, especially in this difficult time. I am indebted to my teachers, mentors, and professors in Berlin, Heidelberg, Jerusalem, and New York City. These include, but are not limited to, Herr Dr. Ehrlich, Professor Sanna Liss, Z.F. Strauss, and Frederick Musal, and rabbis Ederberg, Sievers, and Pavechek Kissin in Germany, as well as rabbis Arthur Wiener and Avram Kogan in Paramus, New Jersey, rabbis Cohen, Ruskay, Luitis, Goldberg, Rades, and Wysotsky, Professor Fishbane, Billett, Mittelman, and Fishman here at JTS, as well as my many teachers in Jerusalem. It was Rabbi Tovia Ben-Chorin and his wife Adina who made me want to become a rabbi. May the memories be for blessing. Furthermore, I owe great thanks to my fellow students and especially to my cohort here at JTS. Without them, my studies would have been half as much fun and not nearly as effective. I want to thank each and every one of you for sharing this moment with me today. Without the immeasurable support of my family, my studies would not have been possible. I want to honor the memories of my grandparents, Chana and Tadek Davidovich and Oma Dora. May the memory be for blessing. I'm eternally grateful to my grandfather, parents, sister, and all of my family for guiding and supporting me every step on my way. Lastly, I want to thank all of my friends in Israel, Germany, and here in the US who helped me to grow into the person I am today. One way to encounter God, the place, is to meet the Makom in prayer. With your permission, I would like to conclude by inviting you all to join me in the Kaddish de Rabbanan. Thank you. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. ועמד דברה קירותיה וימליך מלכותיה בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו ללה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו על ישראל ועל רבנן ועל תלמידי הון ועל כל תלמידי תלמידי הון ועל כל מאן דעסקין באורייתא די ואתך הדין ודי בכל אתר ואתר, יהיה להון ולכון שלמה רבה, חינה וחיסטה ורחמין, וחיינה רכין ומזונה רווחה, ופרקנה מין קדם אבוהון די ושמיה, ואמרו אמן. יהיה שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
סימן טוב, מזל טוב, מזל טוב, סימן טוב, סימן טוב, מזל טוב, מזל טוב, סימן טוב, סימן טוב.